so that they give us better food, so that they give us lower prices than what they sell here in the commissary, and so that they stop the deportations. I'm hoping we can get some support from all the people who are listening, because don't believe what you hear. Life in here is not very easy. They have us here working for $1 a day. We work for 4 hours, 5 hours sometimes, for just $1.
Well, our main goal was to bring to light the situation with the immigration reform, which is it's just being talked about, but there's really no changes happening. So we felt like, we have to do our part to speak up and say something. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, we are immigrants, but what bonds us more is that we're all human beings. We have families, we have loved ones, and as humans, we do make mistakes, but at the same time, it is also in our human nature to learn from those mistakes. And all we ask is just an opportunity to fight for our lives, which is here, since we've invested so much time into this great country.
Earlier this week, immigration authorities said some of those on hunger strike were under medical evaluation. The detainees told Democracy Now! They'd face threats of force feeding.
We received threats from the guards saying that after 72 hours, we would be taking our commissary privileges away, that we were going to see medical and get tubes down our throats and force fed. And I'm not an animal, I can say that. And all of us that are here, it's a cruel way to just grab somebody and put them down and put a tube down their throat. Like, we're here to fight our immigration cases to get back to our families. We're not here to be tortured and threatened by these officers.
Well, for more on the hunger strike and the wave of protests by immigrants, we go to Seattle, Washington, where we're joined by Maru Mora Villalpando. She's an activist and undocumented immigrant with the group Latino Advocacy and part of the Not One More Deportation campaign organized by the National Day Laborers Organizing Network. Welcome to Democracy Now! Give us the latest on the hunger strike. How many people are still participating, Maru?
Thank you. Good morning. We don't know. We don't have exact numbers. It's really difficult to assess due to the retaliation strategies that ICE has imposed. They have been very good at making people difficult to communicate amongst each other. We know that they started isolating people from day one. They were trying to supposedly assess them medically, and instead they were being told that the hunger strike had stopped, that they should stop too, that the hunger strike didn't work. So they also revocated their privilege to watch TV or to listen to the radio. So the way they have managed the organizing that happened in the inside is to stop them from communicating to each other. So we have been able to talk to a few. And yesterday, as a matter of fact, we saw 3 people leaving the detention center that were released, and the 3 of them confirmed to us that the strike continues. And each of them would say that it's about 8 to 10 people that they know that they continue the strike. They're in different pods, they call it, throughout the facility. For us, it's not so much anymore about the numbers, but it's about how ICE is being retaliating. And instead of taking the opportunity of these whistleblowers coming forward and saying these are the conditions that this private corporation has imposed to us in making profit out of our misery, instead ICE has decided to retaliate against them.
And Maru, could you talk about this private company, GEO, that is actually running this center and not only getting paid by the government to house the detainees, but is also paying them $1 a day to work while they're in there? Yes,
this corporation is one of the top 5 around the world to run private prisons. They have 98 facilities around the world. This one in Tacoma is the Northwest Detention Center, which brings people from Montana, Idaho, Oregon, Alaska, Washington, and sometimes our people transfer from the border with Mexico or Alabama, some other places. They started with this center about 10 years ago when they opened, and the capacity of the center, they call it beds, they don't call it people. They started with about between 300 to 500 people capacity, has grown to a 1,600 people capacity. They claim right now to have only 1,300 people inside. They charge between $120 to $160 per day per person, so just do the math. And when they charge that to the federal government, that includes me paying for my own future incarceration in this center. Inside the center, they call it, quote unquote, a volunteer work program. So people that are inside can choose to work in the kitchen, laundry facilities, or janitorial services. So GEO Incorporated not only saves money by not hiring regular employees, but they only pay $1 a day. And that's been the case since they opened so many years ago. People are working between 4 to 5 hours, in some instances more. We know that some years back, 150 people wanted to strike also to do a hunger strike because they hadn't been paid for over 30 days.
Maru, we only have a minute to go, but I wanted to ask why you're willing to speak out so publicly and say that you're undocumented. You risk arrest.
I do. As a matter of fact, we did the February 24 civil disobedience action outside the detention center that really sparked this hunger strike in the inside. And I'm not the only one. There's several of us across the nation that have decided to stop being afraid or feeling shame of not having a piece of paper that allows us to work here or to live here. But we rather want to make sure that people know that it's the government the one that should be ashamed of having created a mass incarceration system by having criminalized so many of us, 11 million, that some years back people will talk about saying that we're undocumented. And now we're only 9 million pretty much left because Obama administration has decided to vanish us from this country. And I'm doing this for my daughter. I'm doing this for the daughters and sons of so many other people. And I'm doing this exactly the same reason why the hunger strikers had put their lives on the line, their own health on the line, because they kept repeating this to us every time. We're doing this for our families, for everybody that is in detention centers across the nation right now, and for all immigrants outside there, so they can see that they're not alone. And as long as Obama doesn't take his work to be done, he always told us, yes, you can. Well, now we're saying to him, yes, he can and he should do this. And he always told us to make me, so now we're making him do this. This is for us important that this deportation stop right now, that the fair action is granted to everybody that is undocumented in the country right now, because we cannot rely on Congress to actually do the right thing. They haven't done it. We know they won't. We've been used by them as a pawn in their political campaigns and their political work. And we are here for our families, and we're willing to risk everything because these are human rights.